Well, it's Saturday the 12th of November. This is episode 2240 of 301 Permanently Moved.online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded, and edited by me, at the JMO. My two recent 10 tips episodes seem to have been useful and inspired people. They are both works of encouragement to do something more ambitious. Spend time doing literally anything else other than scrolling social media. At some point in nearly every conversation I've had this week, Twitter has come up. Part of the vibe shift that I'm detecting is that there's finally a reassessment of social media in general going on. What's it for and how to use it? If you create something and put it online, your attention is bent towards the creative act. If you only consume online, your attention is steered towards things that other people have made. And here's my hot take. The internet, TCP, is a send and receive protocol. If you only download, only consume the internet and never upload, you're doing it wrong. If you spend hours on TikTok every single day, but have never posted a video, you're doing it wrong. What's social about consumption? It's called social media, sure, but for most, it wasn't very social. 92% of all tweets are sent by just 10% of Twitter users. For those 10% of users who are social, they are, by design, playing a toxic game, ladders and leaderboards. So with Twitter's twilight approaching, a crisis is brewing. What is social media for? TikTok, YouTube, Substack, Twitter, whatever. And how should these platforms be used? My friends, i.e. the content class, tell me that it's all very well for me to say, have a little bit more ambition, make and create things and share them with others on the internet. But it doesn't help with the two central questions of the brewing crisis: what to make and for what audience. The thing about building an audience on social media, on any online platform really, is that there isn't a capital A audience. In real life, if you get up on stage in front of a theatre full of people, you get the measure of the room, its vibe, its tone. On the internet, the only feedback you get are statistics. Number goes up, number goes down. Sometimes you get a missive, usually sent by the most motivated of people, who are also usually the most negative. I recently read George Orwell's 1945 essay, Poetry and the Microphone. It's about his experiences pioneering radio propaganda for the BBC's Eastern Service. Here's Orwell on platforms and audience. Your audience is conjectural, an audience of one. Millions may be listening, but each is listening alone, or as a member of a small group, and each has, or ought to have, the feeling that you are speaking to him individually. More than this, it is reasonable to assume that your audience is sympathetic, or at least interested, for anyone who is bored can promptly switch you off by turning a knob. But though presumably sympathetic, your audience has no power over you. It is just here that a broadcast differs from a speech or a lecture. On the platform, it is almost impossible not to take your tone from the audience. The audience has no power over you, an important statement about platforms. Back in episode 2016, I said that you don't need to ask for anyone's approval to make creative work and put it online. And the last place that you should seek approval from is the audience, or rather, the statistics that social media transmutes real people into. Every single number on that list is a real person who, for one reason or another, has chosen to pay you some attention. But what to make and what to create? What must be avoided is more clear-cut. Do not try and make something because you think it might be a banger. Do not steer your own creative work towards the things you think your statistics might like. This is a slippery funnel that you might not be able to climb back out of. I've made over 200 episodes of this show, and of course I've fallen for that temptation. But more often than not, once you've hit upload on something you think will be a banger, it doesn't do any better or worse than any other thing. And the inverse is also true. The things that you are most pleased with, the most proud of, creatively, all seem to perform the most poorly. The things that I care deeply about, it turns out, are things that no one cares about at all. But stats aren't the audience, and nor are the trolls. On the internet, you can never really know who the public are. If the only tone one can take from the audience is statistics, and then you decide to ignore that, what then? I've been very lucky with this show. I say up front that it's a personal podcast, and the only thing that stays the same from week to week is that I write, record, and edit the show I want to make. I make the show that I want to listen to, which is the exact opposite of pick a niche and stick to it advice for Web 2 success. I am, of course, extremely grateful that so many of you are listening to a show made by an audience of one, me, for an audience of one, you. So as folks move away from Twitter, the advice is the same as it's always been. Make art for you, and maybe others will like it too.